How's it going, folks? I haven't been able to record lately. I've been too busy doing something else. Today I'm relaxing a little bit, moving away from sockets and wrenches, and I got some cars that require some electrical repairs, and this is one of them. 2000, what is this? 2008? 2010 Jeep Patriot. The reason the car is in my shop, it's because the owner called me today and she says that the blower motor just stopped working, and she asked me if I could take a look at it. So I told her I could look into it. So she dropped the car this afternoon, and now I'm trying to find out why he's doing that. But as you can see, the blower motor, let me see if my key is on. Yeah, it's on. So blower motor is not responding at any speed. That's off all the way to the last speed, but the blower motor never spins. So I'm gonna show you. I mean, as of now, I don't know what is wrong with it. I just popped this radio vessel because it's part of the HVAC control. But I wasn't thinking about recording this car. But you know what? I'm a little relaxed now, and I don't see any customers coming in. It's getting late. So far, what I've done is I've checked for the easiest way. Some will say the easiest way is swap some parts. But I don't do that. I rather just spend the time and go about my day and try to find out exactly what is wrong with the car. So, most common problems on these cars is blower motor. It's over there. Blower motor resistor. It's right here. We're missing that connector, but here we have it. I unplugged the connector to make sure that we have power and ground. Basically, a blower motor, all it needs to work properly is battery voltage positive and negative, and as long as you have those two, the blower motor is gonna spin always if it's good. So I haven't really tested the blower motor, but we're about to find out if the blower motor is any good. So I don't know if you guys can see that it's hard for me to record and work at the same time. So this is our connector for our resistor. So let's see what we have. Nothing. And we have battery voltage positive. Now, why do we have battery voltage at our blower motor resistor connector? Okay, well, the explanation is quite easy. That means our blower motor fuse is working properly. So we have power coming to the blower motor. Okay. So if we check, let's see, let's hook our power prof into the connector. So as you can see, we have battery voltage. On the other side though, we have battery voltage. Well, you know, the blower motor is just a winding, you know, it's a copper wire, and then just make a winding on the core. And you know, the best way to explain it and for us to understand it is you know, that winding is like a water hose. You know, one end of the hose, you hook the hose to the, you know, to the water source, and then you turn the water on, and then the water just starts to flow towards the end of the, you know, towards the other end of the hose. So it's the same thing with electricity. You know, it's not the same. You know, we're not comparing the, I'm not saying the water and electricity are the same, but you know, the basics of it is that, you know, and as long as you have a wire and it's not broken, you're gonna have electricity flowing through the wire. Same thing with water, you know, as long as you have a hose and it's not cut in half, or as long as you don't have any restriction on the hose, then the water is gonna flow, as long as there is a water to flow through it. So it's the same thing with the electricity. So if you guys look, I have electricity, I have battery voltage. That's because, you know, the current is flowing through the blower motor and coming into the blower motor resistor. But I bet you if I unhook the blower motor connector, and now we look for that battery voltage at the blower motor resistor connector, you're gonna find out that, you know, power is no longer there. You see? Right. That's because I cut the, you know, I interrupted the, or removed the connector of the blower motor, and that's why the current is not flowing into the resistor connector. That is why. So hopefully you understood, but if not, then I'm just a terrible teacher or mechanic. But you know, as you can see, I'm gonna hook the connector back in there. We should have our power back at the blower motor connector, or blower motor resistor connector. So there it is. So we're missing ground, so we're not gonna bother with checking for fuses, because obviously we have power, so we forget about fuse. Nothing wrong with it. So we need to focus our attention into the ground side of the circuit. And you know, if we happen to have ground at the blower motor resistor connector, then more than likely our resistor is no good, right? Well, we have no ground. So now we need to find out why. And the best thing to do is go to our HVAC control and take a look at our blower motor switch. This button right here. Okay. So I already popped the radio bezel, so we're gonna check and see what's going on with our ground, since we're missing it. And obviously this car is fairly simple. At least the way the engineers designed this system for the AC and heater control, it's fairly simple, not really that complicated. So we're gonna check. Maybe we have a faulty blower motor switch, who knows? But if the negative side or if the ground side of the circuitry, if it's not damaged, like if we don't have a bad blower motor switch, or we don't have a broken wire, then we should have ground present at this wire right here. Let me just get to it. Come on. Somehow I activated the windshield washer pump, but there's no room in this thing. I'm trying to make room for it. You know what? I'm just gonna disconnect this. That way I can move my module towards facing me. That way I can gain access to this guy right here, because that's our cable or our wire for our ground. There's our ground. Okay. How do we know that? Well, there's battery voltage here. So since we have our ground present, more than likely our switch is no good. So what I'm gonna do is let me turn the blower motor switch all the way to high speed, and I'm gonna wiggle the connector because I think we have a faulty blower motor switch. Let me try it. Come on. Nope, it's not doing anything. Okay, well, we're gonna try that. We're gonna try our blower motor from here. So since we only have a ground present, there's no positive voltage. In fact, the engineers decided to control ground through the blower motor switch rather than power. So all we got to do now is just test and make sure that a blower motor works when I apply ground with my power probe. All right, so yeah, it's blowing. The blower motor is working. I'm bypassing the switch. That's what I'm doing. I don't know if you guys can listen to that, but that's low speed, medium, third, and high speed. More than likely our blower motor switch is not good, so I'm gonna have to order one from the dealer. In fact, I don't even know if they sell the blower motor switch by itself. It might be that they sell the whole control. Who knows? I'll call the dealer tomorrow morning and find out, and I will get back at this car and finish the job. Alrighty, so I ended up ordering a new module or AC HVAC control from Chrysler. I removed the old one, as you remember, and you know, they changed it because on older models, Chrysler models, they used to have the switch by itself. Now this one, everything is part of a single module, single control, where they integrated everything from lower motor switch, temperature, and blend or mode. So you can't get the switch by itself, and you know, with all Chrysler lower motor switches, heat is plays a major role in, you know, when it comes to part failure, and this is one of them. It looks like when it's blowing high, that's when heat starts to melt the ABS housing and ruins it. There's not much you can see on the back side, but we zoom in, we can see a little bit of a plastic distortion. Nothing wrong with the connections, but it was just on the other side where the, you know, where heat just damaged the switch. So this is the other piece that you can control with the knob. But you know, this is it. This is why you know, the blower motor wasn't working at any speed. So here is our part number. And this is our new one. Here it is, our new part. So now we're gonna walk outside the shop and install it, see how it goes. So now that we have our control back in its place into the radio bezel, we're gonna put those connectors back in its place. This is the connector for the lower motor switch, and this one here is for the rest of the for the other I guess for the actual module. that. That's it. So let's find out if this thing works. It should though. Now we need to try everything from recirculation motor, AC. I don't know if this module requires programming, or this controller, but it shouldn't. Sometimes when it programming is required, the dealer tells you right away, oh well, if you buy this part you gotta bring the car in for us to program the module. It's like, whatever. They think that they're the only ones authorized to mess with a car or fix it. And so, yep, everything works. Let's move from cool air to warm. Oh yeah. Yep, everything works. Alright, well, that'll do it, I guess. All I gotta do now is just call the owner and let her know that her Jeep, it's a red tea. Catch you in the next one, guys.